I'm here with Rana Dershowitz, who is the General Counsel and Chief of Legal and Government Affairs for the United States Olympic Committee. Rana, we spoke earlier about the issue of diversity, and I think that's particularly important in sports, international federations, governing bodies. You do see that there isn't a huge range of diversity in having women and people from other countries and other backgrounds. And I think in your position, a very senior official in the United States Olympic Committee, and you're a woman and you've come a long way. Why aren't there other women, other people from other backgrounds? What's going on, and what do we have to do as we're in the second decade of the 21st century?
Well, I think we have made strides in that regard. If you were at this conference 20 years ago, I think you'd probably see no women here and no diversity whatsoever. So there is improvement, but clearly there is significant room for growth. I think there has to be active reach out. The opportunities have to be made known to a diverse body of people. Too often in the sport world, jobs are obtained through personal relationships, through typical recruiting tools that don't reach into the different communities that we need to reach into. Diversity is critical to any organization, not just for social justice reasons, but because if you have diversity, you have different points of view. People bring to the table very different ideas, very different perspectives, and the sport movement in the world can only be made better by that. So it's an area that we have to work on, one that we in the United States are clearly focusing on. We have a diversity task force that we have implemented at the United States Olympic Committee, and are actively beginning to reach out, or continuing to reach out, but being more active in that regard. I think it's going to take affirmative steps by sport and by those already in administrative positions to increase that diversity.
There's just another quick question I'd like to ask based on the topic of the recent panel, and also the panel that you were on, the legal panel. And it's about the issue of Twitter and athletes' privacy and so forth. And given that the United States is a very litigious nation, and you can get sued for millions for, serving hot coffee at McDonald's, that kind of thing, how has that issue come up? We looked at the Athletes' Village and how there are guidelines and real restrictions on what they can put on their blogs and what they can tweet. Has that come up in what you're doing with the Olympic Committee in the States, and people when they're in training camps or at World Championships or National Championships?
Certainly it's come up, and it will continue to come up. We spend a lot of time with our athletes talking to them about the fact that they are ambassadors, and that when they are on the international sporting stage, they're representing not just themselves, but their country, their friends, their family, their hometown. And while you think of Twitter as perhaps a statement to your friends, it can be received by the entire world, and you are in such a spotlight at the global sporting events. You need to be thoughtful about that, and we stress that with our athletes on an ongoing basis. We do a very proactive program with them, teaching them, teaching is probably a bad word, but reminding them of that funnel that they're in, so that they are thoughtful about it, because as you heard in the prior panels, you can't take it back. And once it's out, it's out. And so we strongly encourage them to think before they tweet. And so far it's been largely successful. I think we'll continue to have struggles with it, just like every other sporting organization is. But for the most part, athletes are very respectful of the rules. They're very respectful of the fact that they are on an international stage. So for the most part, we've been very successful, and they've been very respectful.